Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Is she a trailblazing global icon who completely changed the game for South Asian actors? Or is she a Bollywood superstar whose big Hollywood gamble just didn't really pay off? You see this debate everywhere online, and it creates two totally opposite stories. So let's dive into this paradox and figure out what's really going on with one of the most visible and, most debated stars in the world.
To really get her story, you have to start with this quote. It's everything. It's the core of who she is, a relentless, non-stop hustle. For her, this isn't just a job. It's this constant push forward, which makes trying to judge her career at any one moment, well, it's kind of complicated. It basically frames her whole story as a work in progress.
Okay, so let's rewind to the moment everything changed. I want you to just picture this. You are at the absolute peak of your industry. You're a celebrated, award-winning superstar in Bollywood. And then you decide to just leave it all behind and start from square one in a country where, let's be honest, you're pretty much a nobody. That right there? That was her massive gamble.
Now you might be asking, why would anyone take a risk that huge? Well, in interviews, she's been really candid about it. She said she felt like she was being pushed out, that she had beef with people and was just exhausted by all the industry politics. She needed a change, and that change wasn't just a vacation, it was a full-blown career reset on a totally different continent.
And just look at how sharp this pivot was. I mean, in 2014 and 2015, she's starring in these massive, critically loved Bollywood films. She is at the absolute top of her game. Then, in that exact same year, 2015, she pops up as a total newcomer in the US with Quantico. The switch was so fast and incredibly bold.
And starting over was by all accounts brutal. Her Bollywood fame, it meant very little in Hollywood. For the first time in her career, she had to audition, she had to network from the ground up, and she had to fight tooth and nail against being typecast. She's called this time a dark period, saying she felt isolated and scared in New York. She wasn't just trying to get a job, she was demanding to be seen as a mainstream lead, refusing to be boxed in by her ethnicity, which was a whole other uphill battle. And yet, despite all those challenges, she did this. With Quantico, she broke a massive barrier. This is a historic first, and it's really the foundation for the whole argument that she's a true pioneer who kicked open the doors for representation in Hollywood. No matter what happened after, you can't take this away from her.
But that success is just one side of the coin. Pretty soon, another narrative started to bubble up, one that really questioned the actual results of her Hollywood acting career. And this is the question that's at the very heart of the whole debate. If we're judging her purely on her acting career in the West, what does that report card really look like? Did all that hustle actually translate into A-list success?
Well, this is the evidence that fuels the counter-argument. Critics will point to a pretty clear pattern. Really limited screen time in big movies like Baywatch and The Matrix. Her big show Quantico got canceled after the ratings dropped, and her major leading roles in Citadel and Love Again were, widely seen as both critical and commercial flops. These aren't just opinions. This is the documented track record of her biggest projects.
So you end up with these two completely dueling verdicts. On one side, you have the critical failure argument. Small parts, failed projects, and a career that just hasn't hit that A-list actor status. But then, on the other side, you've got the trailblazing success story. She broke barriers, she faced down huge industry challenges, and just by staying so visible and hustling so hard, she achieved something amazing. And the wild part is, both arguments are based on the same set of facts.
And this brings us to a really fascinating turn in the story. Because what if we've been using the wrong ruler to measure her success this whole time? What if judging her just as an actor totally misses the much bigger picture of what she's actually been building?
This number changes the entire conversation. 429 million pounds. That is the reported revenue of her hair care brand Anomaly. So while this whole debate over her acting career was going on, she was quietly building a business empire. And this is just one piece of it.
You see, her focus hasn't just been on acting. She launched a production company to lift up diverse stories, she's a tech investor in Bumble, she's a longtime UNICEF ambassador, and she's a best-selling author. This is not the resume of a struggling actor. This is the portfolio of a mogul. It seems she's been playing a completely different game all along.
And this quote right here, this is the why. She's talked about a moment earlier in her career where someone told her that actresses are replaceable. And that experience clearly lit a fire in her.
Her response wasn't just to be a better actor. It was to build a foundation so powerful and so diverse that no one could ever think of her as replaceable again. Her businesses are a direct answer to that threat.
So, how do we put all these different pieces together? The Hollywood letdowns, the barrier-breaking firsts, the huge business wins. It's not a simple story of success or failure. It's way more complex than that.
If there's one word that her supporters, and honestly, even a lot of her critics use to describe her, it's this one: grit. Just that sheer determination to leave a comfortable life, start all over, face rejection after rejection, and just keep pushing forward no matter what happened with any one project.
And that grit didn't just come from nowhere. Sources often point to her early experiences, getting bullied for her race as a teenager in America, and even dealing with relatives in India making comments about her darker skin tone. It seems these experiences of not quite fitting in forged this deep-seated drive to prove everyone wrong on her own terms.
So really, getting the full picture of her legacy means looking at it in layers. First, you have to acknowledge the valid criticisms of her Hollywood movies. Then, you absolutely have to factor in her incredible success as a businesswoman. And finally, you just can't ignore her very real impact on kicking the door down for South Asian representation. All three of those things are true at the exact same time.
And maybe the most fitting summary of all comes from the title of her own memoir, Unfinished. It's such a deliberate statement, right? It suggests that any verdict on her career right now is just premature. She's still building, she's still hustling, and the final chapter is nowhere near being written.
And that leaves all of us with a much bigger question. In this age of celebrity brands and multi-talented stars, what does it even mean to be a successful actor anymore? Is it about the awards on your shelf and the iconic roles you played, or is it about the power you build, the barriers you break, and the empire you create for yourself? Priyanka Chopra's career, well, it forces us all to ask that very question.